gentleman from Texas, Mr. Cloud, is now recognized. Mr. Cloud.
Thank you, Chairwoman, and thank you for being here today for this hearing. As been mentioned, we are seeing inflation out at 40-year highs. Disproportionately, this affects lower middle-class families. And you know, what's tragic about this, of course, is that it was predictable. It's been said, many people predicted this, including, of course, former Obama Chief Economic Advisor Larry Summers, who pointed out that we are spending 3 times as large as the projected shortfall. And so, Mr. Jaffe, could you speak to how inflation impacts families and the disproportionate effect of it upon our constituencies?
Sure. You know, if you don't have a lot of money invested in the stock market and you're living paycheck to paycheck, it can be very worrying when gasoline prices, food prices, and other key staples that you need for your family keep going up, especially in an unpredictable way. So it's definitely something that really hurts our working class and middle class families.
Yeah, some estimates have said it's costing American families over $250 a month. And that, of course, during this time where we're trying to rebuild our economy is very, very challenging. It's been said that, you know, a lot of the spending we are not really fiscally sound right now. And it's been said that if the Federal Reserve is projected raises interest rates, that our interest spending will surpass our military spending. Could you speak, generally speaking, to the importance of sound fiscal policy, even as it relates to our national security and well-being as a nation?
Sure. Well, we have about $23 trillion in publicly held debt right now. So if the interest rate on that went up to 5% on average, you know, you would be looking at $1.2 trillion of annual spend, which does exceed the defense budget by quite a margin. So yes, it does have national security implications.
But even in the sense of how great nations rise and fall, how important is sound fiscal policy to us continuing to be a strong economy and a premier influence in the world?
Well, I'm glad you asked that. I'm a student of Roman history, and if you look at what happened during the 3rd century AD, you can see how the emperors gradually reduced the precious metal content in coins to the point where they became almost unrecognizable from what they had been 70 or 80 years earlier, and the empire collapsed largely as a result of that.
Now, in Washington, D.C., politicians often get away with kind of measuring our personal compassion by how much of other people's money we give away. I've always thought, you know, true compassion would be having the due diligence to make sure that the investments we are making are actually having the impact that they desire. You've put forth some effort in bringing accountability to the spending, submitting FOIA requests to their Treasury Department, and just trying to get a handle on what's going on. Can you speak to that experience and what you've been able to find?
Well, as I said in my testimony, one thing that's a huge frustration with the disclosure that we're seeing is that it's not organized, structured, machine-readable data like Congress envisioned with the Great Act of 2019. So you have just a lot of anecdotal information. You have, you know, an essay test here, and it depends on how the professor reads the essays. If you're sympathetic to more government programs and more government spending, you're going to find the anecdotes in this mound of documentation that are going to support your narrative. But that's not really a rigorous way of looking at the effect of this program.
So you would say that the data coming forth is not very transparent, not usable really for the American people to make a good analysis or bring accountability?
Definitely not as convenient and easy to use and as transparent as it should be.
What recommendations would you have as an oversight committee going forward as we continue to look at the spending here and its effects on the American family?
I think we could have more granular classifications of how the money is being spent. I think that we should have machine readable data standards for disclosing that information, and the Treasury should, on a real-time basis, update the totals and the details as they come in. That would provide much more ability for your committee and others to monitor the spending.
Thank you very much.
Thank
I yield
you.
back.